Who will lead the 49ers in rushing this season? This is the $1 million question. I get called up sometimes to do like fantasy football radio hits, and they always want to know who's going to lead the Niners in rushing. I'm like, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Pick a name from a hat. I'll say
last man standing.
Kyle Shanahan hasn't had a leading rusher back-to-back seasons. He has not had one in his tenure with the 49ers. So
and frankly, so far, Elijah Mitchell's offseason doesn't really indicate like he's going to be going back-to-back. He's been hurt the whole time. Yeah.
Process
Healthy
of elimination means maybe not Mitchell because a hamstring is a big deal for a running back. I'm going to go with your guy. Jordan Mason will lead the 49ers in rushing. He looks like the best back out there from when I've seen him. Not named Eli Mitchell. So I think it's going to be Jordan Mason. I don't think he's going to be necessarily the first man up, but he's eventually going to, come in, fill in, and do the job and take away with it. And so I think he'll be the last man standing too. Yeah, process of elimination. Eli Mitchell was leading rusher last year, so that means he's not going to be it this year. So I'm going to.
He's just Jordan Mason. Much bigger than Mitchell and freaking Wilson. Like he's a tank. He's 223 with no body fat. He's looks indestructible.
And he's quick.
Yeah, hella good. We think, Jose.
It's gonna be Trey Lance. He's gonna be running for his life all season, so he's gonna have to run forward. No, that's a joke. I honestly still think it's gonna be because I read your brain. I'm
gonna say Trey Lance, but keep going.
no, okay. You can make the real case for him. I still think it's gonna be Mitchell. I know it's not looking good. But to me, he was knocking on the door of 1,000 yards in 12, 11 games.
He was getting 19 carries a game. They were feeding him. He's never fumbled in his life.
Yeah. So I think he's going to get a little less carries now because I think Shanahan's finally going to go back to his 2019 formula of running back by rotation than just force feeding it. So I think that will take a dip. But even if he only plays like 12, 13 games, which that's kind of where I expect him to be at, I still think he's going to hit 900 yards close to, because I think he's going to get a little bit more bigger gains of more 10-plus yard runs, which I don't think he had a lot of too much, or 15-plus yard runs. I think he's going to see a lot, like a few more of that. That's going to make up for the few carries that are going to be reduced in. So I still will give him a little edge.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to see Elijah Mitchell getting fewer carries per game than last year. But if you think about it, like they gave him all those carries out of necessity. Mostert was gone.
Yep.
Wilson was gone. And when he came back, he wasn't himself. They had to go to Debo as the change of pace back. They needed Mitchell to run that much. And frankly, he wasn't up to it. He got hurt every few games. He was hurt the whole time. So I think probably you could argue he should get fewer carries. He might be better on 11, 12 carries a game than 18 to 20. And now you have Jeff Wilson Jr., who's just had he's had a very good offseason. He's been healthy the whole time. He's in tip-top shape. And last time you said that about him, he had a really good year in 2010 where he averaged 4.8 yards per carry, 10 touchdowns, all that. So I think it'd be fair for Kyle to come into this year and have them split carries at first. So if that's the case and they get 10 carries each, Lance is going to be another 8 or 9, a few scrambles, a few quarterback runs. And the thing with those two, Wilson and Mitchell, is they get hurt, and then Mason's going to get a chance, and Ty Davis Price is going to get a chance. And I think the one guy who's probably going to be there every game is the quarterback. And if you saw, like, Jalen Hurts led the Eagles in rushing last year. It could be that you have a bunch of guys with like 120 carries this year. Lance is one of them, and he ekes out someone else. But yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't say that with a lot of confidence.
Well, generally, a quarterback's going to get more yards per carry anyways because of the style of running game. So there's an opportunity.
Yeah.
Plus, in 2019, Shanahan pretty much, it wasn't so much by rotation. It was kind of, it was by rotation, but he pretty much went with like the hotter hand. You know, it's like I started out first. It was kind of like Matt Breida for a time, and then he messed it up. Then it was Coleman, and then he got injured. And then they just Mostert just grabbed it and never looked back. But they still kind of gave the other guys.
He was great, but he never started in the regular season. They, for whatever reason, I think he may have had because he had a knee injury last couple. I think they knew something. They were managing something with him, so they had him. They gave him his 10 carries a game off the bench, and then when the playoffs came, they were like, "Screw it, 27 carries, baby, let's go." It does feel a little weird that they let him go because he's so good and he did have a nice preseason, but he got hurt in his second carry last year. I guess probably shouldn't have. I mean, they probably made the right call. Man. Sorry. I like
Yeah, probably did because then you wouldn't have Jordan Mason on this team at that point.
Yeah. Raheem says everybody needs to calm down. Every year by the middle of the season, Kyle learns how to exploit every defense he goes against and plays to his strengths, he'll do the same for Trey.
Yeah, I would say that's fair. Yep.
It's not just Trey. It's Kyle figuring out the best way to use Trey and the offense, and took Kyle until November to figure out last year, but he did figure it out. Flav says Jimmy couldn't stop Mahomes on 3rd and 16 or catch a pop fly interception. Forgot he played D and gave up those. Oh, hold on a second though. But there were a lot of things that he was in control of. I mean, he has the lowest quarterback rating in the fourth quarter of playoff games ever. Worse than any quarterback you can ever name who ever played in the playoff game ever, Flav. So, I mean, don't talk about the defense. I'm just saying, you can't get past that fact. Worse than any quarterback ever. Chris Royal says Jimmy will lead in rushing. Go. Maybe rushing first downs, touchdowns. Gio says if the
fourth and ones.
Goal line back. If the Niners can have a top 3 run game like they did in 2019, Trey will be fine. And I think they will. Like what was crazy about last year is they didn't have a top 3 run game. They were 16th in yards per carry. That can't happen with all this talent and schematic advantages in the run game. They should be top 3. I think the best 3 run games in the league, this one, Philly, and Baltimore. That's what it should be. That's what it freaking should be. So
Baltimore for sure, Philly, yep, Niners, yep.
Those are the ones. All 3 of them, 11-on-11 football with the quarterback involved. I don't see how you can have a dominant run game in today's NFL if your quarterback's job is to just hand off and get out of the way. How? It's too hard. I mean, you're asking a lot. You really need Mike McDaniel to be a freaking genius at that point.
I think they help a lot too with all those boot actions that they're going to swing more with Lance than they did like last year or last 2 years. So that way teams are going to be really on their heels about like, is it going to be a pass now? I don't even know what the hell's going on anymore. So that's the thing I'm excited to see. This is that return of that style of offense.
Yeah.
Really
is it a run or is it a play action deep shot? I have to play this honest as opposed to Jimmy where it's either going to be a run or an extended handoff or a throw right to me.
I love all the options. Just that's what you need in the offense. Just multiple options. It can't just be 1 or 2 things, which it can if it's working, but options off defense to really account for, then you're really screwed.
Josh Wyatt says Jimmy Garoppolo is not as good as the supporters think, but he's not nearly as bad as you guys pretend. He would get killed. Here's the thing, okay? He is what his contract says he is. He's getting $6.5 million right now. If he was better, he'd be getting more. He's a backup quarterback. And next year, people acting like, oh, well, he's going to be a starter next year. Really? There's probably going to be 3 to 5 vets available either in free agent or trade market that are better than him. And then 3 to 5 rookies that have more upside. So he's going to be the odd man out. His days of being a starter are over. He may get a month or 2 as a backup, but it's over. So I think
he hovers around that top 20 range. Because like I'll take him over Baker Mayfield at this point. I'll take him over Daniel Jones. I'll take him. You wouldn't take Jimmy over Daniel Jones?
Baker.
That's you don't need either. Daniel Jones is this like his last year as a starter too? He's on the way out. Next year there's going to be all these guys from college, like CJ Stroud and the dude from Alabama and the guy from. Every year there's 3, 4, 5 guys coming from college who are taking your job. Like it's over for Jimmy. It's over. And it might be over for Baker soon, too. Like, he's hanging on by a thread. But it's over for Jimmy right now. Right now. Unless he comes back and wins the Super Bowl this year, which is, maybe Santa Claus is going to show up coming down your chimney on Christmas. It could happen. I've heard that he does that. There's been anecdotal evidence that Santa does exist.
Well, all I know is that
Santa doesn't exist. A lot of kids are watching this. Santa's real. Just want to point that out. I just want to say that real quick. Santa's real. Patrick 30 Cummings says, here's $5 for making me believe in Santa. Santa's real. Oh my God. I have a big responsibility with 800 people watching. This is a good show until I just said what I said.
Is it Tooth Fairy?
Parents?
No, I love it.
Oh, the Tooth Fairy rule is definitely. Grant needs to claim Flav on his taxes. It's true. All right, guys. Show's over. Thanks for watching. I'm going to be back in 20 minutes with Ryan, so don't go anywhere. Ryan Hensley, 20 minutes. But thanks, Jose and Leo. Good show. But don't be late next time. Come on.
Shut the.
Yeah, I'll do better.